Welcome back to Motivational Wealth. Today we're looking into some pretty amazing principles about building wealth.
Mm.
And what's so fascinating to me is how these ideas kind of remind me of, the whole idea like Jesus' gift of salvation. Like
Yeah.
when you think about it, both are about
Right.
like this journey towards a more secure future.
Yeah.
And like receiving this huge
Right. Going to be
sense of,
transformational.
yeah, transformational gift.
It is a powerful parallel.
Yeah.
We often think of wealth as just purely finances,
Yeah.
but our source, The Law of Money, 19 Timeless Principles to Master Wealth
Yeah.
by Justice O. Malcolm, points out there's this whole internal aspect to it too,
Mm-hmm.
which is really interesting because it mirrors, that inner transformation that we see with, a spiritual awakening a lot of times.
Yeah, it's not just about,
Yeah.
get rich quick schemes or luck. Like Justice O. Malcolm really lays out these principles
Yeah.
that are rooted in like inner law and intelligence, confidence, persistence. It's like this whole philosophy of unlocking like a power that's within you.
Yeah.
Let's start with that idea of inner law. So the book says that wealth is the practical outgrowth of inner law acted upon with intelligence, confidence, and persistence. So it's about way more than just, hoping for abundance, right?
Precisely.
Mm.
Yeah, the book really kind of steers us away from that idea that luck is the only thing that dictates, financial success.
Mm.
And instead, it kind of says that there are these fundamental inner laws that are always working. So you can kind of think of it like gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Gravity is always working whether you believe in it or not.
Right.
These principles of wealth kind of work the same way.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
So in this deep dive, we're going to be exploring how you can become someone that money kind of obeys. The book really emphasizes that wealth doesn't just come from effort or intellect,
Mm-hmm.
but from this like conscious directed will that's aligned with these universal laws. Like think of it as like, okay, so gravity governs, physical objects, but there are these mental and even spiritual laws that influence our financial reality. And it's about understanding those underlying forces.
Yeah, that's a key takeaway. The text uses that gravity analogy so well.
Yeah.
Because just like gravity attracts, these mental and spiritual laws can attract or repel, financial well-being.
Mm.
So it's really about becoming aware of these laws and making sure your thoughts and your actions are aligned with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like working with the current and not against it.
So the book talks about this philosophy of force and awakening these silent powers within you. So it's not about like forcing something from the outside in. It's about this power that comes from within. What does that inner force really mean in this context?
Well, chapter 1 really digs into this, law of the inner force.
Mm-hmm.
And it describes it as like this spark that's within you, like a quiet yet ever-present inner power. It's like that will to think beyond just the normal way of thinking.
Yeah.
And that confidence to believe in your potential, like they use this analogy of a seed, and how that seed holds the blueprint for this giant tree,
Okay.
and that inherent energy, the drive to grow, is a lot like, our inner force when we're trying to grow our wealth.
So it's about, recognizing that inherent potential that's in us.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, recognizing that potential for a changed life
Yeah,
through, accepting the gift of salvation.
that's a great connection.
It is.
Both of those journeys, toward financial strength and towards spiritual fulfillment, they both start with recognizing that there's this fundamental potential for something bigger inside us.
Right.
And the book says that in order to unlock this inner force,
Yeah.
you have to get rid of those limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
You have to start thinking more positively.
So there's this other principle that they highlight too, which is dynamic reciprocity. And that means that every action you take is going to cause a reaction. So it's not enough to just have that inner force. You got to actually do something with it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, chapter 2, the principle of dynamic reciprocity, really emphasizes that the world around us responds to action. So it's not enough to just want wealth or just try to build up your inner strength. Your thoughts have to actually turn into actions that you take on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
The universe is like this huge network of give and take. So when you use your skills and your effort, you're going to get a response back. And that response is going to line up your circumstances and give you opportunities that match what you're trying to do.
But it's not just any action, right? It's intelligent action. Like just kind of doing random things isn't going to cut it. Our actions have got to be like deliberate.
Yeah.
And they got to match up with our goals.
Exactly. And the kind of response you get back is directly related to, how good your efforts are and in what direction you're putting them in. So this principle really requires you to know what you want to do, be disciplined, and to really truly believe in the actions that you're taking. It's about turning your thoughts into real, tangible steps. It's
Mm.
like every step you take is like an act of faith. You're showing that you're ready to engage with the world.
Yeah, so this idea of like, having a conscious and directed will and aligning it with these universal laws, it's like taking responsibility, right? Like if our financial situation isn't what we want it to be, the book kind of suggests that we need to look at our own thoughts and habits.
That is a central theme in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the introduction it says, if your income is low, your thinking may be the reason. If your wealth is fleeting, your habits may be the fault.
Mm.
So it's all about understanding that cause and effect when it comes to money.
Mm.
You don't just wish for money, you have to create the right environment for it.
Mm.
By following these principles,
So it's kind of like a process of financial self-construction, like the book says. It's about building that strong foundation by, understanding and using these laws. And it's a continuous journey, kind of like how we grow spiritually.
it is a great comparison
Yeah.
because both of them require us to constantly be putting in effort, reflecting on ourselves,
Mhm.
and always trying to grow. The principles that are laid out in the law of money really give us a framework for how to build ourselves up financially. And they emphasize how important our inner strength is, taking action on purpose, and understand how things really work behind the scenes.
Well, thank you for being here with us on Motivational Wealth. We really appreciate you joining us on this deep dive into these principles of lasting wealth.
It's been a pleasure discussing these fundamental ideas
That's good.
with you.
Your support through subscribing to Motivational Wealth really makes it possible for us to share these insights on how to create a prosperous future. We really hope that this deep dive has given you some valuable motivation, like that amazing and priceless gift of salvation. Until next time, keep these principles in mind and keep striving for success.